Welcome to the Hive Podcast. I'm Olivia Roosh, an art student and this year's editor-in-chief. This podcast is brought to you by The Retort, MSUB's student-led news outlet. We're here to deliver relevant news to the MSUB community that is both educational and entertaining. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
On today's podcast, advice for college students. 3 keys to unlock your potential.
This is Caleb,
Robin,
Christian.
and we are doing the Retort takeover here on this special episode of the Retort podcast.
thanks for being here today, guys. I'm really excited. Our first episode. Like we'd mentioned, we're talking about 3 keys to unlock your potential, and we're really going into things to help you really avoid the biggest mistakes.
What have you done in your college life that you regret?
Well, I think I had a pretty good start off. When I arrived, I decided to meet a lot of people. So that was definitely an experience. I think, Caleb, you were one of them.
Yeah, I remember that.
Tell us about the strategy.
So originally I actually had moved from Germany for my senior year of high school, and I didn't have a good time because I didn't have a lot of friends, and it just it was bad timing. Senior year, everyone's about to take off, and I was kind of disappointed with that experience in high school. So I wanted to change something, and I decided, I moved into the residence halls, even though I was from Billings, and it was a really great experience. So for those of you out there, if you guys want a college experience, I definitely recommend you guys to move on campus and just to get to meet those people. But move-in day, I actually decided I was going to go around my floor and knock on every door and introduce myself.
Yeah, I definitely thought that was weird at the time, but it worked off. I mean, it paid off.
Yeah, it was definitely I had to, obviously, I was nervous and I didn't know anyone. So, but I was also determined just to meet people. And I think definitely I don't regret it now looking back. I met Caleb, one of my best friends. So definitely worth it.
My biggest regret is honestly not socializing enough too. And that's one of the things that Robin did, and obviously made a huge difference. But, I thought, university was just about go to class, get the grades, and just focus on that,
Right.
But
it's definitely more about building a network.
Yeah, that's 50% of it is the socializing and building contacts and just, friends, but also good relationships with professors. And
definitely. And learn from each other. Look, all 3 of us, we have different majors.
Yeah.
We're about to wrap up our college experience here. And there's so much I've learned from the 2 of you. It has been so helpful in my personal growth. And I think that's you got to take those opportunities and really make the best out of it.
And it's a snowball effect because we've all helped each other become more involved in different things and build different interests,
Christian, you're a finance major. Caleb, you're accounting. And I'm political science. All obviously your guys are more related, and you guys have been able to help each other even through studies. But really, for me, getting that insight on really financial aspect, both in personal life and also kind of on the professional side of things, has been really helpful.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah, let's hit it off right away. So our first key is advice on basic finances. So, Caleb, you mentioned scholarships. For me, actually, I made a big mistake when it came to this. I kind of thought, I'm not going to get any scholarships. I never had great grades in high school, and so I didn't apply to any scholarships until my senior year of college, which is this year. And I actually got I was surprised because I received quite a good amount, and
Did
it just
everything?
almost, yeah. And it just went through my mind then wow, what did I miss out on here?
Yeah, how much debt did you incur?
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, but that happens to dozens of students.
Yeah.
That go to MSUB.
Not everybody graduates, and then maybe if you choose to go in a different direction,
Exactly.
you still have that debt. If
Yeah.
you'd applied for those scholarships, you would be paying
Yeah.
on that.
What about you guys?
I just had the basic stuff. I didn't really apply for many of the scholarships. I did incur some of that debt.
So you made the
got,
mistake as
I
well?
got a few grants, but it didn't cover everything.
Okay.
I had some stuff from the reserves, things like that.
Oh, okay, so military benefits.
Yeah, but
Talking GI Bill.
I do still have some school debt that I'm gonna have to pay off.
Okay. What about you, Christian?
I mean, I got scholarships every year. I just knew about applying for it, I guess, and was lucky that I knew, I guess.
Mhm.
But it didn't cover everything, but it definitely helps. Like, I think, I having a couple thousand knocked off every semester, it's like makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's something that like a lot of people don't know about. I just my finance professor was just telling me. He's on the scholarship committee, the one that awards, for first round funding and second round funding for scholarships. And he's like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, from the foundation and from the university just don't get out because students forget to apply. So, right now he's in classes right now and he's just like telling everybody, he's like, just guys, don't forget to apply. But he was saying that, last month.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Robin, you did it. How does somebody listening take advantage of that? What are the steps they need to do right now?
So typically the university gives out priority deadlines for scholarships. So just look at those on the MSUB webpage under scholarships. So you can find that just by searching scholarships. And it'll take you to a general scholarship application and you put in your information and it kind of filters through the things that you would be eligible for. And it's really nice because it's one application and it'll just send it out for everything that you are eligible for. And even if you miss the priority deadline, you're still eligible to apply. You just may have lower chances to getting funds because you're in a lower priority group. But I definitely recommend you to apply even if you missed the priority deadline. That's what I did. I missed it and I still applied. I thought it was worth a shot, and it was definitely a success. So recommend everyone out there to give it a shot.
Well, wait until after I apply. Then.
All right. And right now, like, obviously there's a lot of students struggling because of the pandemic going on. And just one thing, I'm on student government, so is Christian. One thing we hear a lot about from the administration is the opportunity to apply for the CARES Act funds as well.
Okay, what is that?
The CARES Act funds, it's provided through the CARES Act, which was a big bill passed, the first initial bill passed by Congress.
Oh, in the spring?
For relief funds, yes, in the spring. Now they've actually, I think, moved on to the second portion because the schools used up the first pot of money, basically, but it still all goes under CARES Act just because that's the recognizable name. And students can apply for that if they've had any financial hardships due to COVID-19. You can look at the specific requirements on the COVID-19 central webpage on MSU Billings website. So go ahead and look at that. You could apply for it once a semester. So if you guys did already happen to apply in the fall, you can apply again for the spring. And again, this application, it only takes like 10 minutes. So I really would encourage you guys to apply for it. If you guys had to purchase any like electronic items that you needed because of kind of the transition to a lot of online classes, or if there, like I said, any financial hardships due to COVID-19, the school is really trying to help everyone out and fund those things for students.
So keeping along that same vein, things that college students need to be mindful of, maybe one of those is avoiding debt.
Debt
Yeah.
is huge. I think it's tricky for a lot of college students because some people, already have to incur debt, to go to college in the first place. So it's like, how do I avoid that? But sometimes I see it so much. And even for me, I was guilty of it for some periods in my college career of, why make it worse off on yourself by incurring credit card debt or, entertaining the thought of getting a new car, getting approved for a loan or things like that. It's just really silly thoughts that are not worth it in the long run. Like, why make it harder on yourself as a college student with all these burdens, and then you get locked into interest payments on these big items that it's just not worth it.
avoiding unnecessary expenses. And then actually, I think of you, Caleb, as an accounting major, like a big thing that we can do is like budgeting, right? We can track our spending and create budgets.
Oh yeah, and everybody thinks that I'll get a credit card and I won't spend it all, and I'll be mindful of what I'm spending and make sure I'm responsible. But you do really got to be careful, even if you think you're kind of a responsible person. I know I was one of those 18, 20-year-olds that got a credit card. Got it went in right to the branch in the Bank of America, signed up for a credit card. They gave me like a $500 limit. I had it maxed out within like 3 months.
Whoa.
And I can't remember a single thing that I used that credit card for now, years later. And it's...
You are irresponsible, Caleb.
Yeah. Hey, I'm an accounting major. I still made that mistake. Well, I wasn't an accounting major then, but yeah, you just got to watch out. Don't take on credit cards if you don't have the funds in your bank account. When you have to use those funds from the credit card, you probably shouldn't be using the credit card. If it's frivolous, if it's different. If like your car breaks down, or you're stranded or something, you got to pay for a tow. It's nice to have that, but don't go buying dinner on it twice a week and not paying it off.
Yeah. Listen to Caleb. He's the oldest out of the three of us, and
the most wise.
You guys can't see, but he actually has like a pretty big beard. So
I have made all
very
mistakes.
biblical beard, very stoic.
And look, it's not only the debt that you're incurring, okay? So like I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but for all of you guys out there, maybe there's somebody that's not aware of this yet. The interest.
Yeah, that's killer. You don't think it is, but it is.
And a lot of people don't think interest accrues daily. Like those banks are accruing interest on the card transaction that you spent $40 on some purchase. Then interest is accruing daily for that, and they'll charge you on it at the end of the month, and it'll build up.
Yeah. So just make sure if you guys do use your credit card. I know, like personally, in the past, I've wanted to use my credit card, at least to a certain extent, to build that credit history. But the number one thing is pay on time so you don't incur that interest.
Pay it on time every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
All right. What's our last point under our first key?
Time is money. Start your Roth IRA today. If you are a freshman in college, you need to start an account now. Whether it's an IRA, Roth IRA, I would suggest a Roth IRA because you're almost certainly earning less money now than you will be in the future. Go ahead and pay the taxes on that now.
Yeah.
But really, your time is so valuable when you're young.
Yeah.
Every dollar when you're 18 is like 60 when you're 60.
Yeah, it's crazy the value of you'll be so much ahead of the game if you open up a Roth IRA in college. I was late to it, I think, by opening it up in my senior year. But most Americans don't start a Roth IRA probably till their mid or late 20s.
Can you guys give a little breakdown of what a Roth IRA is?
Okay, so there's a couple different. So IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account.
Okay.
There's a couple different ones. There's a Roth, so there's a couple different ways to tax earnings in a retirement account. A regular IRA, you're going to be taxed, when you retire, you're going to taxed on those funds as you take it out. The Roth IRA, you're going to be taxed on it now, and you're not going to pay taxes on it when you're, drawing on that on retirement. So that's the advantage of getting the Roth while you're young.
So which one should I choose?
The Roth.
The Roth.
You're almost certainly going to earn more money in the future
Okay.
than you are now. So it's better to pay taxes on it now and then not pay taxes on it later.
Yeah.
You'll end up saving a lot of money in the long run.
It's such an easy way to, like, a legal way to game the system. I mean, why pay taxes on it later when you're in a higher tax bracket?
Right.
Why do that to yourself? I think so. If you ever see the option when you're looking up and there's IRA or Roth, choose the Roth.
Even if you don't have the funds to necessarily put a ton in it right now, even if all you have is like $10, go ahead and just sit down. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes to actually set up the account. Maybe do a bit of research on what broker you want to use. I personally have a Schwab.
Me too.
Roth IRA. I really like it. It's not too difficult. You just kind of get in and play around.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Right. Yeah, we're not sponsored by anybody. This is just all personal opinion. So yeah, just go ahead and set up the account. Even if all you have is $10, just go ahead and open it, fund it with $10, and then throw $3 in it a week or something. That will grow way more than you would think it would over.
Okay, so what's like average returns or like average growth?
It's something that people don't think about a lot about, but the value of compounding interest. And, I know it a lot because I'm in finance, but, just quite generally, a little amount of money earning compound interest, especially when you're tying it to the stock market, for example, and that's growing in your retirement account. Like Caleb was just saying, like if you can only afford to put in $10, $100, that $10 is eventually going to be a couple $100 when you retire. If you put $10 away right now, it's going to be a couple $100 when you retire, and you don't do anything. You're just literally putting a $10 bill into your Roth. If you put a couple $100, it's going to be a couple $1,000 when you end up retiring.
Okay, so
doing nothing.
I'm currently in the process of opening my own like Roth IRA account, and I've been doing a little bit of research, and I heard so you can't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't like take out the money until you retire.
You can take it out, but there is a penalty. I think it's 25 to 35%.
It's quite steep. You don't want to take it out. You don't want to put money in there that you're going to need. So if you have to pay for food this week, you're trying to decide whether to put in your Roth IRA, just pay for the food. The Roth IRA can come second on that. But so that money's for retirement. You're not pulling that back out.
Yeah. I look at it, I look at my Roth, but like that money's like untouchable. I can only, and that's what financial advisors recommend. It's like only if there's an emergency situation, like you have a car accident or you're in the hospital or you have a loved one that you need to take care of, or you need to take a flight really quick that you don't have the account, in your bank, your normal banking account. Only emergencies.
So you don't want to put yourself in the position to accumulate debt, basically, again. All right, we have one more thing, and it was actually the ace in my sleeve. I was talking to, I'm not the finance guy here, but I was talking to Caleb and Christian about this.
But this you know about.
Yeah, and I asked them whether they knew about it, and I saw blank
marks.
faces. Yeah. So the American Opportunity Tax Credit. This, again, a great thing for college students, and it is tax season.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit disappointed in Caleb when he didn't know this, since he's an accounting major.
Maybe a little bit behind.
But
I didn't know about it.
So college students have the opportunity to use this when they when they file their taxes. So I'm going to read this off. This is straight from the IRS website, just a little tidbit of information that will help you to save some money, hopefully. So the American Opportunity Tax Credit is a credit for qualified education expenses paid for an eligible student for the first 4 years of higher education. You can get a maximum annual credit of $2,500 per eligible student. If the credit brings the amount of tax you owe to zero, you can have 40% of any remaining amount of the credit, which is up to $1,000, refunded to you.
Wow, $1,000.
Yeah, so I've actually, in the past 3 years, always had that work in my favor. So I just use TurboTax, again, not sponsored, just it's been easy for me. And they've helped me through the process and actually suggested that for me. So if you guys don't use TurboTax and had that work in your favor, just make sure you guys do take advantage of that. And yeah, hopefully you guys save some money or even get a refund on that.
So I use that too. TurboTax, again, no sponsor. But you just so generally look for that, or at least Google that, the American Opportunity Tax Credit and TurboTax after it, if you use TurboTax. But generally, look out for that with whatever method you do your taxes. Google it, try to find out more about it.
What's our next key?
Get involved.
Get involved.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, one thing we touched about earlier was socializing and the power of that. It's like having a good relationship with professors, being interested, visiting their office hours a couple times. So it just shows that you're interested. They'll remember you. One of the things I didn't realize was my finance professor sits on the scholarship committee, and he says, the students that he likes that show interest, and he sees their name, they applied for a scholarship. he's going to give it to them, because he
Mhm.
has the final say for his department of
Yeah.
which finance students get that, and that applies to many professors that are in different departments.
Absolutely.
So that's a big point, is like,
Yeah.
be nice to your professors. That's one point, but obviously socializing with college students and making the most of your experience is
Yeah.
another big part.
Student engagement.
Yeah.
Like, Christian, both of us have been really involved on campus. We're both on student government right now. Yeah. It's we have a lot of insight what's going on around campus, but we also have that working in our favor when applying for those scholarships.
Yeah.
The school wants active students. They want students that leave a positive impact.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that while I've been here.
Being on both sides of the table and like interviewing for clubs or leadership positions, and at the same time of trying to get internships and getting opportunities, and being both the interviewee and the interviewer, and I think, like Caleb said, like at the end of the day, they just want to see a guy that is has a guy or girl that has energy, that can be passionate about something, and has the commitment level to do something. And that's the biggest thing. That's what I think activities on campus shows. It shows that you're willing to go the extra mile and do more than just some person who's just trying to get the degree and they think that that's all they need, And if you have those things on your resume and you're doing those college activities, it shows to other people that you know what it takes.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say, so we have so many opportunities on campus. It's really impressive, actually. And we see, this is one of the things we talk about on student government a lot. Just recently, we had a meeting earlier this week, actually. We were talking about student engagement on campus. Look, we have positions at the retort. You could be in charge of marketing. You could be
paid to write. Just your opinion on a subject.
To write, to edit. We got open senator positions. The student activity board is still looking for a few more members, and you can gain real experience in these positions. I'm on the executive board of student government, and there's a lot of projects we're always working on, and it's really impressive to see like how much initiative that takes and how much experience like I am gaining through that. And so definitely worth your time. I would also recommend for all those that are getting engaged, really, you're gonna get out of it what you put into it, just with anything else in life.
Yeah. I think that's what the involvement is showing overall, like what you put into it, is what you get out of it. That's what employers see. That's what the people who in the clubs see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, be sure you write it down what you're doing. That way you don't forget in 2 years when you're writing your resume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You should definitely, write it down and put it on the Word document that is your resume, that you don't, so you don't forget.
So we should probably talk a little bit about some of the resources on campus.
Yeah, the next key.
I think, resources. There is so many things on campus that people just don't know about. I didn't know about a lot of things until I got involved, was the thing. Once I started getting involved in clubs and student government and other things, then all these resources became known. But if I wasn't a part of those things, I wouldn't have known. So it's not necessarily anybody's fault. But one of the biggest resources is that as a student of MSUB, you have a lawyer on your side. A lawyer. So there's
an attorney.
Yeah. So if you incur any significant problems, the student government, if you go to the student government office located at the top of the student union building, and you ask for student legal services, or just ask for, hey, I heard that there's a student lawyer, they will sit down with you and they'll hear your argument. And if you're battling maybe kind of a legal issue, whether it's occurring somewhere in the city or
landlord-tenant issues.
Like permit issues, maybe something that you're wrongfully
custody, or you just need any advice to really start off, like what direction do I need to go with this?
Yeah, something you think you were wrongly charged of, or something you're in a situation that you don't think is right. You'd sit down, you ask for the student legal services, and this lawyer hears your
opinion. Please schedule an appointment.
Yeah, you schedule an appointment, and they hear you out, and you're on the right direction. And that's free. That is free legal services.
That
absolutely
is a pretty good value.
Yeah. I think free legal advice is not cheap. I mean, it rarely happens. So yes, we have a lawyer. Student legal services is a big resource on campus. The second thing is the academic support center. I don't think as many students should take advantage of it as they should. I know about it because I was a tutor. I was an economics tutor.
I heard about that.
Whoa, how'd that go?
Yeah, it was a good experience. I mean, I got paid to, obviously, like, tutor people and sit into an economics class that I knew stuff about and I was interested in. But at the same time, I had students come to me and it's just so easy. I mean, like they go to a lecture and they're confused and maybe they're nervous about sitting down with the professor. Or maybe they go to the professor's office hours and they still don't get it. And then they feel like, oh, what's wrong, But you just go down, they have multiple departments for math, for writing, for different niches, accounting, economics, for political science.
Yeah, I actually took advantage of that opportunity. Yeah. I think it was my freshman year, and both myself and a friend that was actually an international student, we were, I think it was art history.
Yeah.
And it was we didn't have any experience with art history, so we felt just a little bit challenged and wanted to make sure that we're going to be successful. And I think a lot of students really struggled in the class, but once we attended just a couple of those study sessions, it helped us a lot.
Yeah, I think like one of the things like you should learn in college is it's about efficiency. It's how to become more efficient. I used to, bang my head against the wall, like theoretically, for a couple hours about some issue I'm not getting. Now, if I know I'm not getting that issue, it's as simple as like, I'm just going to schedule an appointment. Or you can actually go online and see if there's a tutor available at that moment.
Oh,
and
that's
then
cool. Where can we do that?
I would just type in the Academic Support Center into Google, and then you go on there, and then you can just see the different subjects laid out, and you can actually it's pretty self-explanatory.
so
You'll see the time slots.
MSUB Academic Support Center.
Yeah, it'll be on the university page. Academic Support Center has its own separate page. It has book an appointment, or it has open time slots every day. There's generally like for each major, there's
Awesome.
people that are just sitting in there waiting for like a problem to come up.
Interesting.
And where was that located again, Christian?
Yeah, so that's at the bottom floor of the Student Union building.
Okay.
It's right next to the cafe.
Stingers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Academic Support Center, but it's a huge resource that not many people know. It's it makes their life easier for studying. The third major resource
Is
Robin.
The student health services. And this is a thing, like all these things are really, you may not know, but you're already paying for this as students. So the student legal services is paid for through the student activity fee. This is really comes from ASMSUB initiatives. And the student health services, you pay the student health fee. So you have access to nurses and even
psychological counseling. I was,
counseling.
When I was an RA, I had someone on my floor that said like, hey, can you take me to, I know about this resource. I need to, just talk to someone, like kind of like on a therapist dialogue. And we went down together and it helped her,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So definitely student, like whether it's just you have a cold or, you want, I think they have like free STI / STD testing
last weekend.
Yeah, if you're nervous about something and you just want to get it checked out, really no matter what it is, you can go in there and talk to them and they can take it from there. You might have to come back when the provider is there and just schedule an appointment for that, but you can save a lot of money, like doctor's appointments. Even if you just want to talk to someone, a lot of times they'll charge you like $100 or $200 just for even the appointment without having anything done. So definitely recommend to take advantage of that. Probably save time and money.
Time and money. It's a seamless process. Go ahead and use it while it's there.
Yeah.
And lastly, we wanted to talk about another resource that the university has, and it is the ASMSUB Contingency Fund. So this is something a little bit different than anything that we've talked about today. The ASMSUB Contingency Fund is the student government contingency fund. If you guys didn't know, student government at MSUB really manages and allocates the student activity fee, which is just one of several fees all students pay. And so this really goes towards engagement. So part of that fee, we have a fund, which is the contingency fund, that students, any MSUB student can request money from. So the eligibility requirements for that is really that it goes towards something that benefits MSUB students.
Interesting. So I can petition the board for my beer money.
So you can put in, there is a contingency request form. Nice joke, by the way, Caleb. There is a contingency request form which you can find under the ASMSUB page, which you can find again on the MSUB website. And you fill out the form, and basically, like, this is like catered towards, let's say you're either a organization, a club, or an individual student, and the simplest thing to say is like, okay, you want to host an event and you need money to fund it. So let's say you want to have food there, you need licensing maybe to show a movie, and you need money for decorations and all these kinds of things.
And any student can do this, not just any organization?
It doesn't have to be necessarily an organization. So this, again, I'm making an example for this. Obviously, so this event then, because the school's money is being allocated towards it, this event would have to be accessible for students. So the student body benefits from it. So it wouldn't be just for yourself and your beer, Caleb.
So
sorry to
have everybody have a big beer party.
Well, there's university regulations on that.
Don't want to have another run-in with campus police.
But also in the past, things have been funded, such as like if you want to go to a conference because you think there would be benefits through that, or if you want to, for example, the MSUB ROTC program has been funded to go to the Baton Memorial March in New Mexico.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so you guys can find more information on this, like I mentioned, on the ASMSUB page. There's a request form and more detailed information.
Yeah, it's a huge I remember many years ago we had a student in some department that was doing research and wanted to go to a conference to present on behalf of the department. And was just applying as a student, to get the funds to travel, the airplane ticket, the food costs, the hotel costs, to do this thing that would help her and like show that it was good on the university that, they're doing that thing. And she got approved for it,
Whoa, she got all that paid for.
She got all that paid for, And so there, student government has a pool of money that is, trying to help students and campus, and it's just there.
And it's really surprising because like not very many people take advantage of it.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. Any little nuggets of advice?
Nuggets of advice. No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just like we've mentioned several times. It's getting started. Really, I think the financial education part of it is really important. I think there's an inherent lack of financial education among citizens. Yeah. So really taking the initiative and empowering yourself by educating yourself. Like, there's a lot of books out there about this stuff, and you don't have to look at financial data analysis or something, but really understanding the biggest concepts and looking at it. I think those are the most important things. Like, none of us are certified financial advisors, just to put that out there, but definitely I think anyone can benefit from educating yourselves on this. All right. Thank you for listening to the Retort Podcast.
The takeover. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hive Podcast. You can follow The Retort on Instagram and like us on Facebook for more content. Feel free to reach out with ideas for future episodes through our social media, or email us at retort@msubillings.edu. Find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Today's episode was sponsored by MSUB's student government, ASMSUB.